Hello! Welcome to another episode of Oxygen Not Included. Last episode we had gone ahead and set up our metal refinery and had done some base renovations. This episode I want to focus on a cooling loop and maybe redesigning our infinite food storage, because there could possibly be a much better way of doing it that I did not know of, but we'll have to go and try it afterwards. No, actually, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put our oil refinery just right next to it for now. And we'll go ahead and plug this guy in. Just like so. Go ahead and get a liquid reservoir set up. And we'll plug that in there. Now we do need a way of powering this, and we're at 4 kilojoules. We're almost at 2,000 watts on that. So, I like to play dangerous. Plug it into that. Go ahead and let the duplicates build that. So, last episode we had gone ahead and started pumping out the crude oil that collected down here and sending it into the teleporter, right? Oh, choose blueprint. Over here. By the way, Ren is still stuck here. So, whenever this thing gets to 100%, we'll send Ren back. We'll go ahead and let the duplicates build that up and get that started. And what we're going to do is we're going to refine our crude oil into petroleum and use that petroleum to set up a proper cooling loop for our metal refinery here. And then we're going to hopefully set up a cooling loop for the whole thing. Actually, let's not deconstruct this whole thing. We'll just deconstruct it to this point. So, let's go ahead and let them do that. Alrighty, so we should have our absolutely minuscule amount of crude oil making its way up here to go ahead and get refined. Now we're going to go ahead and take this. I think I'm going to run it down below. We'll cut that, and deconstruct that, just so we can get this proper loop set up. Now we're going to want to bring this up and make sure you snip those. And he's going to bring up here, and this is going to be kind of where our little steam room is going to be, right? So what you want to do is make sure you use your gold, which we have not a lot of. Let's make a bunch of gold amalgam, and then in the meantime, let's finish up our little box here. I think this should be enough for now. Go ahead and let them build that up. And set this priority 6. Okay, crude oil's coming in. Alright, let's get Ren back in his suit. And let's teleport him out of here. Alright, let's send Ren back home. Now, we are not getting a lot of crude oil out of here. The crude oil is all just kind of wanting to sit here for some reason, and it's super annoying. Alright, let's deconstruct the bottler and let's set it over here. And then too much liquid. Okay. Let's dig that out, and then we can mop up that crude oil and dump it in this auto bottler. And get that set up. So this should have, yep, just a bit of petroleum in it. And go ahead and get our gold. And we're going to want the gold to come up. Just like so. So what's going to happen is the petroleum is going to come right out, and it's going to go through the steam, and it's going to cool down just enough for the petroleum not to overheat, right? So no matter what, your petroleum is going to still be really, really hot, but it's going to be a lot, it won't ever overheat, right? Because what's going to do is it's going to transfer heat with the steam, and it's going to heat up the steam's going to get sucked up into a steam generator, and then output it as water at 95 degrees Celsius. And the steam generator is just going to produce a bit of heat. So we're basically deleting the heat, which, you know, disobeys the laws of thermodynamics, but in this game is perfectly acceptable. So we're gonna go ahead and build that. And then with the 1200 steel we built, we should be able to come in here and build our aqua tuner. Now we want, yeah, we're gonna want to build it just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and let them put that bad boy together. And we're going to set this bad boy to crude oil. And we're going to wait for the duplicates to go ahead. Oh, do we have some crude oil coming in? Okay, great. So the crude oil is finally coming in and being sent over to the main base. So we'll go ahead and wait for them to line this up and then sweep all this, or mop all this crude oil up. And then hopefully go and deliver it over into our auto bottler. Right, we got some new printables available. Not really taking anyone new just yet. I'm gonna let them finish this. And okay, so next things, we need to be able to power, right, our thermal aqua tuner. So I think for now, what we're gonna do is go ahead and set up another. God, let's set this one up over here at the very edge. No, we'll set it up. We'll set it up here with the box itself. Go ahead and deconstruct those ladders, and we'll put ourselves a large power transformer for our thermo aqua tuner. Another thing you're going to need is a steam turbine, which is going to be made out of gold, which means you're going to need 700. We should have enough here. Actually, just to be safe. And we should be, yep, we're building up a good amount of petroleum. And you want to make sure this place, you want to make sure the inside of this box is nice and clean. Alright, well I'm going to let them go ahead and catch up on this, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so I've gone ahead and plugged in our petroleum to our little cooling loop here. And you want it to come in and fill up your metal refinery right to its max, which I just realized has 800 kilograms of brine in it. We don't want in there. We're going to go ahead and deconstruct this metal refinery and rebuild the thing. Just so we can get all that brine out of there. Go ahead and let them build that. Hello? Alright, they're going to be very slow about it. But I've also gone ahead and plugged in the thermo aqua tuner. And we're going to wait for this to plug. Oh my gosh. Why are they being so slow? Rin, thank you. I don't know, for some reason, even though a lot of these guys have priority in construction, they're they're being absolutely slow in working. I don't... Like, for example, what's Stinky doing? Okay, he's coming out now. Oh, right. He's going all the way over there to get igneous rock, even though there's igneous rock right here. Okay, doesn't matter. Okay. So, just want to pay attention to this and wait for it to get close to 800, because you don't want to have too much extra petroleum in the line, right? You want this to fill up to 800, and you want the line to be mostly full. We're gonna go ahead, I think, cut it off at 700. Okay. Let that bad boy fill up. And we were a little over. Not a big deal. We'll just go ahead and deconstruct this. And plug that guy back in the inputs. And go ahead and let that drain. So, the reason why we're using petroleum is petroleum has a very high tolerance, right, until it turns to a different state that would damage the pipe. And because of that, we can get it to a pretty good high temperature without it causing any issues, and it works as a really good early game cooling loop for things that are going to get really hot. And, you know, eventually later on you can use different liquids if you wish, but you can also get away with just using petroleum until the very end, right? So we're going to actually ask them to make just 200 steel real quick. I think actually just 100 steel should be fine. Go ahead and have them sweep that up. And we are going to go ahead and do automation. And, well, actually, I'm going to wait till that's set up. So, we're going to go... What we're going to do up here is... Did we get our... Oh, yeah, we got all of our gold. What we're going to do is take your steam turbine, made out of gold, and you're going to place it right above this cooling loop here, right? And they're going to go ahead and build that. And you want to take your automation, and you want to look for... Oh, sorry, my bad. You want to go to base, and you want to grab your liquid reservoir. And you're going to place it right here next to your steam turbine. And we're going to go into plumbing. And we're going to look for a liquid pipe thermo sensor. We're going to place that right next to our aqua tuner, or our liquid reservoir. So basically what we're doing here is, and then you're going to plug this into the thermo sensor for your aqua tuner. Basically, what this is going to allow us to do is, in this room is going to be steam, right? And this steam is going to keep your thermal aqua tuner at a good constant 100-something degrees Celsius, probably 200s. This is why we're using steel, because steel has an overheat temperature of 325, right? So, with that, right, this box is going to be full of steam. That's going to be keeping this liquid at a constant temperature, and this liquid at a constant temperature, or this thermal aqua tuner. And we're going to be running basically a large loop of polluted water through this thermal aqua tuner, and the water is going to kind of just pipe around this area and throughout our base at a constant rate, right? It's going to just constantly flow in a loop over and over and over again. Let's say at like 20 degrees Celsius, cooling down our base and our production block. And if it ever gets a little hotter, the aqua tuner will cool it down while also heating up, which will heat up the steam, which will then activate the steam turbine and turn that hot steam back into 95 degrees Celsius water, which will then turn back into like 100 degrees Celsius steam, right? So basically we're going to be deleting heat, is the idea. I also just realized I built these two walls when we're going to need to be able to do some building in here. So very similar to what we did for our chlorine room, right? The way this is going to work is we're going to have a bridge here that's going to connect just like so. And then this liquid's going to come up and into our tank. And then we're going to go ahead and take the output of our steam and just have it come down like so. And, right, go back into the room. Once they build this, you can cap off the little box. Basically, any steam that gets sucked up into the steam turbine is going to come out of this pipe as 95 degrees Celsius water back into the room full of steam. And then this is going to be our little reservoir for the loop. And it's going to loop through this temperature threshold where we'll say if it gets above 25 degrees Celsius, right, activate the aqua tuner to cool the liquid down. If the liquid's too hot, it'll go input of the aqua tuner and come out of the output and then continue on into our loop. Or if it's just the right temperature, it'll bypass this input and just jump the bridge and continue on the loop either way, right? So we're going to go ahead and let them finish building that, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so what's going to happen now, once you've finished closing up your box, right, you're going to want to put in some mesh tiles. I like to put them in the corner, one in the middle. This will basically allow the air to flow out of the box as you replace it with liquid, right? And you can just do a little auto bottle, right, and let your duplicates manually put the water in through here, or you can just unplug your pipe here, and if you have like a big tank of water, you can start piping in right here and just let it come out this liquid vent. Either way works. The liquid vent route's probably gonna be a little bit quicker, but what you're gonna want to do is basically slowly fill up this container until there's no more like gas in here, basically, right? You want it to be completely just water. So when the water turns into steam, the only gas that's in this room is steam, right? Because if any other gas is in here, then it can mess up your steam turbine and everything, and it won't work properly, right? So best thing to do is to basically get a little over 1,000 kilograms of water in these bottom row of tiles, right? And that should fill up this tile and put water technically in the tile above, which will then kick out all of the gas above it. So I'm going to go ahead and let the duplicate start slowly filling this place up with water. I may end up having to deconstruct this and put another bottle into here on this side, but we're going to go ahead and do that. Alrighty, so this is going ahead and filling up nice and good, and I thought while we're doing this, we might as well start getting our cooling loop set up, right? So what we're going to want to do is just kind of bring this down, and what I like to do is, right, we would have this come down and go across the bottom, but currently we have a bunch of salt water in it, so we'll continue it here, right? So this would come down, go to here, and we'll have it come down. And I like to just have it go through the mesh tiles that we've been using so far, right? And have it go like that. From here, it can go ahead and make its way to our base. We don't want to do this close to our food storage because we already have a really certain temperature we want to do there. So actually, let's have it cut off in the middle here, right? And we'll have it go this way and come back this way, right? So we can go into our base and just kind of cool the place off a bit. So we can just have it kind of come up, back this way. And have it come down. Just kind of, hit as much of the base as you can. The kitchen's already going to be pretty much cooled. And then just have it come back up. Right, and then come back down. And then plug in just over there, right? It's going to go enter. It's going to exit. It's going to be exiting there. And then it's going to come up, come down like that. Just like so, just like so. And it's going to come down this way. And cancel that. Do plumbing. Plug that in just like that. And it's going to come down and come back up. Just like so. And that would be our cooling loop. Now this cooling loop, we're going to go ahead and let them build it, is going to be full of polluted water, right? That's what you're going to want to use. Polluted water is a really good liquid for cooling loops because it can get below 0 degrees, right? And it also has a heat transfer rate that's really good. So we're going to go ahead and take this up. Now you're going to want to take this across, and right, our end goal is right here in our little reservoir, but when you're going across your steam turbine, we'll go ahead and use some radiant pipes. Oops, plumbing, the pipe. And we'll just go ahead and plug that guy in, and we'll do a bridge like that. So we'll go ahead and let the duplicants build all this up, and then we will start pumping some polluted water into it once we get this place filled up. Alrighty. So, as you can see, our little box here is filled up with water. So you can see you have no more gas, so as soon as this happens, you can go ahead and cut off your water supply, right? No need to put any more water in here. And you're going to go ahead and take your insulated tiles and just replace them back. Go ahead and plug this back in, just like so. Don't need that anymore. Petroleum? How petroleum got there? I think I may have accidentally deconstructed a pipe earlier. Construct those pipes, as they are not needed. And we're going to take this guy and plug him into that input there, just so we can empty up this pipe and plug it back in for our polluted water cooling loop, right? So, with that, go ahead and take care of that. So, what we're going to need now is a bunch of polluted water, right? And I'm thinking we can just super simple take our pump here and just move it on up, right? So that should, yeah, that's going to hit around all this polluted water here. And we can just plug in plumbing-wise that into there. That. And we're going to drain this pipe completely of all the brine. And then we'll, like I said, we'll replace it with some polluted water and let the loop start filling up. So, I'll be back. Why aren't those textures connected? It's not a big deal. It'll probably fix when I reload the game in the future. But, we're going to go ahead and let my duplicants finish up our cooling loop and drain this pipe, and I'll be back when it's done. Alrighty, so we've gone ahead and started filling up the loop. So the reason why you want to have yourself a liquid reservoir here, right, is because it's going to give your loop a constant input and output to go through, right? And also, it allows you to hold some excess polluted water in case you want to expand your loop. Then you don't have to constantly, you know, hook it back up and fill more of the loop, right? You can just overfill it, and the backup will just stay in the reservoir, and you can expand it out, right, more and more, and it'll allow it to stay full. But also because it allows an input and output, so it'll constantly want to go to the next input, and go to the next input, go to the next input, and it'll just continuously loop around. Right now the liquid's at 35 degrees Celsius, so we're not going to really see any major cooling until it's done a lot of cycles at a colder temperature. And just to re-stress, right, do this with polluted water, don't do this with clean water, because if you set it to, let's say, like 20 degrees Celsius, you're going to be cutting like 15 degrees Celsius every time it goes through the aqua tuner. right? Which means there are times that this is going to dip below 0 degrees Celsius, and if you use clean water, it's going to phase shift into ice, and that's just going to absolutely, like, start breaking all your pipes, right? And it's a pain to fix and such, but with that, we're going to start filling our loop. I'm going to go ahead and let this guy fill up, let's say to 1,000 kilograms should be fine. And then we'll close it off, and then our cooling loop is done. It should be operating and such. We shouldn't really have to do anything else. 800. So what I want to do after this is, I'd seen on the Discord, right? It was suggested to me to put our... Cut that off. Just like so. Cool. Is to actually take our, what the heck is this thing called? Thermoregulator, and actually put it in a vacuum, right? And have it sit on a metal tile with like a bit of crude oil on it, and have that metal tile exposed to the outside element, or like a cooling loop, which we've just built, and that, will allow a lack of heat loss, right? Now, it's not that big of a deal, because I think that only mainly works if you have your freezer in a vacuum. Now, you can do your freezer in a vacuum. It'll still work. The only downside is your food won't be deep frozen until it actually, the food itself is at negative 18 degrees Celsius, meaning if you have barbecue that just got deposited in at, let's say, 50 degrees Celsius, it has to go all the way down to negative 18 just by physical conduction with the metal tile, right? Now, if you have it in a gas, such as carbon dioxide, or chlorine, or hydrogen, right? All it has to do is be in a gas that's negative 18 degrees Celsius, meaning the food can be 50 degrees Celsius, but it's in carbon dioxide that's below negative 18, so it's deep frozen, right? So I prefer the gas method because you, while it does require more energy and your thermoregulator works more, it will stay deep frozen more consistently, right? And you don't have any chance of your food being turned into polluted dirt. But because of that, actually, I don't think I'm going to put the thermoregulator in a vacuum, because there's really no need. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take our cooling loop, and I'm thinking I will expand it down to thermoregulator, and I think that'll be it for the cooling loop. That liquid pipe, construct that liquid pipe, and then we can deconstruct these two bridges. So we're no longer branching pipe across. Instead, we're actually going to have this come down, and just like so, and plug back in there too. We can go ahead and take out these two and make these radiant pipes. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and test out our new metal refinery and see how this works. And we can start removing, like, we don't need this planter box anymore with this Weezewort, because it should be cooling itself. And right now, like I said, I have it set to 25 degrees Celsius. And you can set this to, I think, like a minimum of 15 degrees Celsius. Oh, like that. Hello. Hi. 15 degrees Celsius is the minimum I go to. You could get away with like 20, 25. Those are usually ones that I like to stick around. And the steam turbine, once it gets going, right, not only is it helping you delete heat, but it's also helping you generate just some some excess power on the side, right? So, but as you can see, right, we got some petroleum coming down at 60, and let's set this priority 6 just so I can get another duplicate to run it. We'll run it. Hello? And thank you, meat, for delivering. Can we actually run the machine, though? That's what I'm looking for right now. Guess we're gonna have to wait because it's nighttime. Are we good now? Are we gonna come run, do a work errand? Nisbet? Thank you, Nisbet. Okay. Okay. Nisbet. I don't know. I've been told recently, due to my southern accent, I cannot pronounce the letter E. Alright, so it's coming out at 107. And right, it's running through those pipes, and it's coming back in at 56. Right. So we're basically transferring half of its temperature into the water. Right? As you can see, our water in here is actually starting to slowly... Oh, there's a bit of igneous rock in there. Luckily, it's igneous rock, which won't actually affect anything, and it's not that big of a deal. But that's annoying, because I really want to get it out of there. I could deconstruct this piece and get it out before the water gets too hot. It's only at 49 right now. Yeah, we're gonna quickly do that. Once again, not a big deal. It actually won't negatively affect the machinery or anything. It just bothers me that it's in there. I'm gonna go ahead and let the duplicates get that out. Alrighty, so we gone ahead and got that igneous rock out of there. So, one thing to be aware of though, right, and real quick, I'm just extending this pipe into the flooring the machine sits on, just so it cools down those mesh tiles as well, which will help. But, one thing to be aware of, if you have a cooling loop like this, it will kill your frames. Not a lot, but it does get noticeable, mostly just because... Right, that's more the game has to process, constantly moving around, and when you start getting like super crazy piping like this, like right, just going into the piping window, I go from 60 FPS to about, you know, I lose about 10 frames. So, and this is on like an actually decent PC, so just be aware of that, right? If you're if you don't have an amazing PC and such like that, I mean, I guess you'll probably get used to it, right? Because we've all experienced the pain of having a super farther end, colony, right? And our frames dropping to about 20 or something. But as you can see, temperatures are already decreasing in areas where we actually have the pipes. For example, these two areas, if you look, we have coolant running through both of them. And soon, these areas over here are probably going to stay warm for just a little bit longer, mainly because we don't have any of the cooling loops going into them. So we're just going to have to rely on it gradually cooling down the oxygen in our base. But it is going ahead and cooling things off quite significantly, actually, which is really nice. And also, we're starting to cool off the area around here. Gas is starting to cool off, and slowly but surely these power transformers will also cool down as well. So, alright, so with that, I think I'm going to end today's episode there. This episode is going to be a little shorter, just because I wanted to focus on the cooling loop. If you're watching my videos and you enjoy them, please, if you want, you can subscribe, leave a like, right? I know you hear it a lot from other YouTubers with the notification bell, etc., right? But either way, I really appreciate just anyone watching, right? I just started this channel not too long ago, and I don't really have any reference on if the growth it's at right now is good, but it's good to me. I really like it, and I'm glad that some people are at least getting some positives out of this. So, with that, I hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you on the next video.